Howdy, my name is Ashton. This is Scott, and
Howdy.
he's the one I'm interviewing today. So, first question: what do you think is the most difficult thing for the majority of people in this country to understand about race and racism?
I think the most difficult thing for people to understand about race and racism, specifically in this country, is the culture and the history of everyone's race. Not a lot of people assume, because we are Americans. Americans, in my opinion, are by and large a not very intelligent people. We're by and large, and kind of, for lack of a better terms, stupid. So I think the biggest thing that people tend to overlook about people's race and is really just their culture, their history, their background, where they come from, what matters to them, what they see as acceptable in their from their countries, and trying to implement that here in America with the wide variety of races that we have. It just seems difficult for them to implement some of their traditions and cultures in this country opposed to their own, because obviously their own country, it's a more familiar setting. They're able to do so more comfortably. But here in America, a lot of people disregard other people's cultures and traditions because we just really don't put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah. So, since society's been based around and kind of catered towards just all white males, is that why you think that we just tend to just not see anything else? Say we just, it's not that I don't think we really accept their traditions. We just don't see them as normal. Why do we just accept that our norms should be their norms, and that if they do something different that is not our norms, that they're not accepted, I guess.
Really because it's out of the ordinary. It's out of the normal. People are afraid of change.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people, I mean, just recently, Cristiano Ronaldo, he is actually supposedly going to face 99 lashes to the back because he hugged an Iranian woman. And that is considered adultery in Iran. But if he did that anywhere else to a woman, maybe in Portugal, there would be no punishment. So it's just out of the norm. We don't really, the reason why I say we, by and large, not me personally, but we as a people, the reason why we want them to be more like us is because it's just out of the normal, and we're afraid of different things. We're afraid of getting out of our comfort zone.
All right. So next question. So how were your thoughts and beliefs about race and racism formed?
Just primarily from my parents, and more specifically my dad. My dad, he has one of his best friends of 30 plus years. He's African American, and our two families have always been extremely close. So there was really never a problem with me understanding that no matter what color a person is, we're all equal. And so there was also never a problem with me being a racist, because I grew up in an environment around and my mom's Hispanic, so I grew up overall in an environment that was friendly towards all races. So racism and understanding people's race and culture and history was never a big deal to me.
How does media, TikTok, whatever, anything that see on media influence you, the news, whatever? How did that also influence your views? Because sometimes they can portray certain information in different lights, and that can really kind of enlighten you or kind of just stray you the wrong way. So how did media, especially, influence you?
Little to none. I don't really let my personal values and my beliefs be affected by outside conflict or outside sources. Especially today, the media is very distrusting, people are very distrusting of the media, and the media likewise is also very distrusting towards other people. So if there's going to be anybody or anything that would change my views, it would certainly not be the media, and it would also not be social media, because people on social media say whatever the hell they want to say.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to let people like that compromise my values and beliefs. So I would say that it's had little to none effect on me. Unfortunately, that's not the same for other people, because there are millions of people who listen and trust every word that comes out of someone on Twitter saying just random shit,
Yeah.
or the media just reporting, because of course you have the political sides too. One side is saying one thing, one side is saying the other. Whoever supports either side is going to listen to what that side is saying.
Yeah.
And when in reality it's all just a perspective game. So
Yeah. So if you grew up in an environment where, say, your father, because he was the most influential for you, was racist, like he had just white friends, that's all you saw as a kid, like that's all you were really accustomed to, do you think that would have changed who you are? Maybe you weren't like a severe racist, but like that you would just be not as accustomed to it, especially like if your dad didn't kind of have that African American friend around for such a long time, especially as a kid.
Is my dad's like a full blown racist?
Not a full blown racist, but maybe just like a seclusionist. He doesn't.
Seclusionist. I mean, it would definitely be a weird adjustment. Because this goes back to what I was talking about, out of the normal. People like their happy place. They like the things that they're used to. So even when it comes to people, I typically don't enjoy meeting new people in general, no matter what race they are, because I don't know this stranger. I have to I have to have a conversation with you first, to really get to, you could be I could meet a white dude and he could be the coolest white dude ever, and I could meet a black guy and he could be the worst dude ever. It just all depends on where do people draw their lines of their happy place. So if I happen to grow up in an all white neighborhood and I went to a school with a low minority population, and then I graduate high school and I leave this all white community, come Texas A&M where there's people that have family from Africa, from Southeast Asia, from Central Asia. Yeah, it would be difficult to adjust to. Not that I don't think that makes someone racist. I think it's just because it's different for them. And I think a lot of people get confused with that, is people are just not used to, things that they're not used to. But that doesn't make them a bad person. It's only whenever they, of course, overstep it. And I think people have enough common sense to see when people overstep that then they're like, yeah, that person might be a little racist. But if they're just a little uncomfortable at first, it's out of their normal. So just give it time before throwing the race card in.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
All right, last question. What's one race-based topic that you wish Woodville talked about or understood?
I wish people understood that the Jews are a separate race. I had a friend in high school who actually didn't know this. And I guarantee you that there are plenty of other people that don't know this. The Jews are their own separate race. It is a race of people. The Jewish people is a race, like black people. That's a race. The Jews, even though they can have the same skin color as me or you, they're their own separate race. And that's why this whole blood feud, well, not necessarily a blood feud, just feud in general between the Jews and the Muslims. It goes back. I mean, it goes back centuries. It's nothing recent. Obviously, the most recent conflict that's still brewing today, which has resulted in Israel declaring war on Hamas, was because the Jews, after World War II, the Allied power says the Jews will occupy the area of Palestine, and all the Muslims have to deal with it. That's the most recent event, but the Jews and the Muslim rivalry has gone back years and years and years. I just wish people would understand that the Jews are a separate race. It's not like just a bunch of white people living in this area where the Muslims once occupied. This is a race of people. Yeah. But that's a whole different topic of occupation and whatnot.
So do you think it's bad that we just see someone and automatically group them into some category of people? So if we see a white guy walking down the street, we're not going to think he's a Jew. We're just going to think he's a white guy. We're going to group him in that white population. If we see an Asian walking down the street, we're going to group them into an Asian category and kind of put them under those biases. Well, like they're good at
I don't think it's bad to immediately do that. I think it's bad after you know like who they really are, and then you still continue to do that.
So, sorry, keep going.
So if a Jew is walking down the street, he's a white guy.
Yeah.
I see him. I'm like, yeah, that looks like a white guy. Maybe he could be from Middle East, depending on how dark or how light his skin color is. But just for the sake of this topic, if I see a Jew walking down the street, I'm like, yeah, it's a white guy.
Yeah.
But if I were to go up to him and have a conversation, hey, where are you from? Oh, my family's Jewish. Oh, okay. Well, then that's different. That's a whole. That puts him in a whole different category. But if I go up to him and I'm like, hey, where are you from? He goes, hey, I'm Jewish. I'm like, no, you're still a white guy. That's whenever the problem starts to boil over. So because like Asian, like you can be Asian, but Asian is classified as many different countries.
Yeah.
So if they want to, if they say just referring to themselves as Asian is fine, well then respect the request, and that's probably the easiest. That's what a lot of people do. But if they're like, no, I'm specifically Chinese, they're still Asian, but whenever you talk about them, you say, yeah, they're Chinese.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Thank you for your time.